We have rain in 57 at 6:16, and there has been a conviction in part of the Boston Marathon bombing case. We're joined by WGY legal analyst Paul Harding of Martin Harding and Mazzotti. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey.
So this guy who's been convicted, he was a friend of the surviving marathon bombing suspect, Zohar Tsarnaev, and he was basically accused of lying to investigators and helping cover it up.
He sure was. We got to keep in mind that, we think of a lot of state investigations here. The police come and ask you, did you see that? And everyone says, oh, I didn't see anything, or I don't know what you're talking about. And then later on, maybe it's discovered that they did. In the state court, there's no crime in lying to the police, I guess. But in the federal court, this is what this case was all about. They came to him, they asked him some questions. He claimed to have been high on marijuana, but just claimed he changed his story multiple times. So what he's convicted of, 2 counts of lying during an investigation. In this case, they found it was a terror investigation. So he's going to do some jail time for just not saying what the jury found that he should have said.
What did you make of that defense? I smoked so much pot, I didn't know what I was doing. Is that just the fact that the defense had nothing better?
Well, they had 6 witnesses on there, so he must be smoking pot in general public, who said, yeah, he just was smoking pot all day. Probably some truth to it. But yeah, I guess at some point you don't have a whole lot to say. You lied to the federal investigators. You later find out that's a crime. At the time, you just kind of think, hey, I can just say what I want. In this case, maybe he was under the influence of marijuana. He had former presidential candidate Michael Dukakis come and speak on his behalf. He was a family friend. I mean, this trial went on for a few weeks.
Yeah,
it
it
was
did.
6 days of deliberation. So they took it very serious. And again, he will do some jail time. One of those things that he just wished he had done differently. He has no connection to the terror plot. He didn't even try to cover up the evidence. He just didn't tell the truth when they came and talked to him.
Yeah, there were 3 of them, I think, and when they saw the picture that the FBI released, they recognized him, went to the dorm room, and the 2 other guys removed the backpack and explosive devices. This guy just sat around and watched, and then what he just said, I don't know, I didn't see anything.
Right. The other 2 guys got conspiracy and obstruction of justice, much more serious charges. You're right. He's and our guy, just yesterday, what happened with Philippus, he is convicted of just being lethargic, just not communicating to the police. And again, I think if you kind of corralled a bunch of people and you ask the question, what happens if you lie to the police? Again, in New York State law, nothing. It's not a good idea. I'm not suggesting you do it, but there's not a separate crime that'll put you in jail for not telling the truth.
WGY legal analyst Paul Harding of Martin Harding and Mazzotti, 1-800-LAW-1010. Paul, thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.